Hey everybody, it is March the 15th, 2022, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. I am Gerissar, a Padawan. Blah, 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 blah.
And I'm TreesapJake, I'm a shaman enthusiast. And today with us, we've got Merce, a rank 1 warlock, to talk about, well, warlocks, I guess. Merce, tell the audience, tell us all about yourself. Want to hear it.
Hello guys, I'm Merce. I've been PvPing on retail for like 5 years, I think.
Wow.
But before that, I used to play on private servers for like a few years, and then I made the transition to retail because it was time. And here we are. I play warlock, I play warrior, I play a lot of classes actually, but these are my two mains. Warlock is my ultra main, and warrior is my second main.
Nice. Yeah.
And of course, I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Oh, we're happy you're here. I have to admit,
Yeah,
you're not the first person that we've talked to that has either started on private servers or spent a number of time on private servers.
Really? Who was the other guy?
There's been a few. I have to go back and remember the names of everybody. We've talked to so many
Really
people
testing
now.
him. It's a real test.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who is that? There's one.
It's all good.
No,
There's multiple players that's private.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a few. I remember one specifically. I feel bad for. I can't remember the name now. They were their favorite thing was playing Mr. Pandaria private servers. That was their jam.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I played Wrath of the Lich King. I didn't play anything else.
Oh, neat. Okay, so you must be excited about the upcoming classic turning to Wrath.
Definitely, I'm looking forward. I think if retail isn't very good, I think I'm gonna spend my my time on Wrath of the Lich King Classic.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I
feel that.
Yeah, I have fond memories of being a warlock in Wrath.
Yeah, it's one of the strongest classes for sure.
Yeah.
What comp will you play, Mercy?
With the Leather Shaman.
Yeah.
I mean, Lock Shaman and any healer, it's one of the best comps.
Music to my ears. Music to my ears.
Are we gonna have a TreesapJake Mercy rank 1 team?
If I'm blessed by the gods, then maybe. But I'm on Gehennas, so if you want to play some LSD, let's go.
Yeah, I'm also on Gehennas.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there you go. You're both on the same. Awesome. Well, awesome. I'm glad everybody you're here. But I think first let's ask Jake, what have you been up to since our last show? What have you been up to the last 2 weeks, buddy?
Oof, I've had a lot of things happen to me. A lot of IRL stuff, which I won't bore you with, but I've been just honestly grinding as much of WoW as I can, retail, obviously with the new patch coming out. I've been trying everything. I've been playing my Enhance, I've been playing Elemental Shaman, I've played DK, I've played Boomkin, I've tried lots of wonderful weird things, hoping, praying that the RNG gods will bless me with some tier pieces. So I've just got to wait every week, I suppose, or find a way to do heroic content, which I really don't want to do. I don't want to raid, admittedly, but we'll see. I'm just kind of try-harding a little bit too much on multiple characters, which will burn me out eventually, but
All right. And have you got a tier piece yet, or are you still you're in the tier piece waiting room?
I am indeed.
Bummer.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It sucks. It does.
Right. And I saw some really neat IRL. You gave up a section of your storage space, your closet just disappeared and became a whole other section for another person or something like that.
It did, yeah. So it kind of.
All right. Whew. All right, there you go. Okay, yeah, we're good. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for my dear. You are a saint. All right.
Did you last hear? I think is the question.
Yeah,
the question to ask.
Yeah, that's the next question. Can anybody let us know what the last part you were hearing?
No, I meant you, Gerissar.
Me?
Yeah. What did you last hear? Because you said there was somebody that invaded my space, and then I explained it.
Yeah.
And then there was no response.
Sorry. Yeah. So I led you into that, and then that's when my computer froze.
Oh, I see. So you dropped me in it and then you ditched immediately afterwards. Classic. Yeah. Okay. Well, my response was that, someone came in and stole all my space and put all their clothes in there. Weird what girls do. And I hoped that's what you meant and not something else. So
no, that's exactly what I meant. I saw the picture on Twitter there that you put up on social saying that you had planned, you were prepared, you had made space. I'm just kind of curious. I'm kind of curious though. You showed the closet for all the clothes. You didn't show a picture of the closet for all the shoes.
That is a fair point because the shoes haven't gone there yet.
Oh.
The shoes are TBC, to be concluded, or I suppose TBA, to be added. So I don't know. I'm afraid of that. So we'll get there. We will get there.
That's all right. Hopefully you still have room on the other side for your four suits, and you're good for the day. You're good for the year.
My 4 suits are actually at the end of that.
Oh, really?
So they are actually
Too funny. All right. How about Mercy? What have you been up to these last 2 weeks?
WC is about to start soon, so these last few weeks we've been practicing, wargaming, theory crafting, playing a lot of ladder. It's pretty much trying to figure out what's good and what's not good, what we can play, and if we can play something, we'll play our mains, pretty much.
All right. So I have to ask, are you willing to let us know what's working and what's not, or is that all hush hush until the cup launches on the weekend?
Kinda everyone knows what we can play as mains, right? So it's like MLD is looking hot, LA Mage is looking hot, Warrior Mage is looking hot, Turbo. We have a lot of comms that we're able to play together at a good level. So it's looking good so far.
Awesome. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. I like some good Warlock play. Turbo is always a lot of fun to watch. Because
it's a lot of fun to play as well.
It's a lot of fun to play.
I can only imagine. I've never found a good player to play when I was playing Warrior to do Turbo, and like I guess it's more I was too crappy to find a good player, and I've never been able to pick up Shaman. I just can't. It seems it's too many moving parts for me. I commend anybody that's able to do all the stuff that they need to do to do Ellie, or just do Shaman. Totems and sauce and just all the other stuff. It's just too much.
Well, if you need a Shaman Senpai, then you know where to look.
That's true. That's true. I'll just I'll call up Swapsy again and see if he can come back on the show.
Dragons in my heart. No, I'm kidding. Swapsy's probably the best person, or one of the many.
I would say there's some good ones out there. Well, awesome. So I know what the cup starts on. Well, shoot, I think they're doing Ladder Snapshot tomorrow, and then it's gonna. I think it's Thursday. They're doing the qualifiers, and you guys are going to the actual streams on Friday.
The Ladder Snapshot, I think it's in 4 or 5 hours, not sure, and the cup is gonna be like tomorrow.
Okay, so a little bit off on the timing. Okay,
but the stream will be Friday, yeah. But
awesome.
The offline qualifiers will be tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, and I have. Once again, you're right here. Is there any teams you're concerned about? Anybody that is you're hoping you don't get up against in the first round, or
right now we're a bit high on the ladder, so we're gonna have high seeding. So most likely we're not gonna face a really good team in the opening rounds. I don't expect to face anyone that we would be scared of until top 3, top 6, I would say, like 8, something like that. But in general, the good teams are like the usual suspects. Like everyone playing RMP and everyone playing jungle. Anyone else, we're not really... I wouldn't say afraid. We're not really worried.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I personally, I'm going to be cheering you on. Looking forward to it. I guess you're welcome. Just to round out this little segment for myself, I haven't been playing any PvP actually. I've been doing the Mythic Dungeons tanking. As I was talking off stream, I have to admit it's been hard because the in case nobody knows, the dungeons are actually more difficult in season 3 than they were in season. In fact, they're like 5 keys higher worth. So when I was rocking like a 9 key or a 10 key at the end of last season, it wasn't that it was challenging because of my gear level, but I wasn't scared. And now I'm playing with guildmates, and I'll be honest, like we're struggling on a 9, like seriously struggling. In fact, like depleting and maybe doing an 8 or a 7. So it's a thing. But I have to admit, I opened up my vault this morning and I had a 262 headpiece. I was like, yes, cha-ching.
Was it tier though?
Oh no, it wasn't tier.
Oh,
no.
That's a shame.
Oh,
well, I've got a question for you, Gerissar, before you continue. When is your MDI debut? That's the real question.
So funny question. I actually am trying to put together a team with my guildmates, not to actually do the MDI, but I'm actually trying to get through I'm trying to get on there so we can do the time trials. Because if you finish the 2 keys during the time trials in time, you get the banner that you can use on live, and I really want that banner. It looks sweet. So
what banner is that? I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, yeah. So there was some quick news about it. I think MMO Champion is probably the best one that has if you look up the MDI banner, they have the best news article on it. And so between the 30th of March and the 5th of April is the time trials, and in that week, you have to time the 2 keys plus the affixes that they determine for you to run, and if you get them in time, you get a banner. So it looks pretty sweet, actually. So yeah, one thing I remember we were talking about it. It was being mentioned in our Discord there over at Warcraft Radio for the show, but a little point for tier pieces coming out of the vault, in case nobody has learned, because I learned this. I was today's year old when I found out that the tier pieces you earn through PvP in the PvP slots are upgradable, and they rank up depending on what your CR is in PvP. I didn't know that. I thought so. Actually, it kind of makes sense. You're getting it. So if you do PvP, you could actually get a piece and then you can upgrade it. You can rank it up. Unlike the stuff you get from the stuff you get from PvE is only based on either the key that you ran or the level of raid that you ran. So I'd say for yourself, Jake, it's probably a good thing that although you're trying to burn yourself out just to get tier piece, maybe it might be better to just focus on the PvP, because at least then you'll get a really sweet piece that way.
Yeah. Music to my ears, honestly. Not having to do raid content or Mythic Plus. That sounds... I think BFA killed me on that front. So, yeah. I'm happy just doing that.
I think I'm lucky in the fact that I didn't really push hard at all in anything in BFA. I just kind of meandered through the expansion. So, because I really didn't feel like burning myself out on Mythic Pluses just to...
That's what you needed, though.
Yeah. To
be competitive. It's sad. It was really sad. But anyway, enough of BFA.
Right. It's a distant memory now.
It is, and it will stay there dead.
All right. Well, while that stays there dead, let's see what you came up with, Jake, for the Need, Greed, and Pass. And let's play this little fun game.
This likely won't be a clean fight.
Okay. So for Need, Greed, and Pass, for my first one, let's see. I've got... Okay. The 3 options to choose from today is... sorry.
What's the scenario? What's the scenario here?
Scenario. Okay.
What's the what and the why?
The what and the why, yeah, true. I forgot about that. Okay, so the scenario is you're a PvP player, and you have 3 things that you can choose from that will aid you, and you cannot choose absolutely anything else ever. This is the only thing you can play with. And for the rest of the season, that's all you can do. It's either that, it's a trinket. You can only choose this one trinket to use for the rest of the season. That's it. Nothing else. And the 3 trinkets that I've suggested you choose from are Resonator, Echoing Resolve, and Eternal Aegis. Those 3. So Resonator obviously being the one that explodes. RMP love it. Echoing Resolve is the CC immunity where you get 20% longer CC, but your next CC is kind of basically blocked. And then Eternal Aegis is Hank Trinket, but for magic damage. So those are the options.
All right.
Only trinket you can use.
All right. So just to remind everybody playing at home right now, again, you can choose one to need, one to greed, and one to pass on out of the three. So if you're live in chat, by all means, let us know what your thoughts are while we play along. And if you're at home, go on over to our Discord or tweet us on Twitter, whatever you want. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask Mercy if he knows what he would choose. Which one would you need out of those three, and which one would you greed and pass?
This one is really, really easy. So I would pass the Resonator because it got nerfed and people got weak hours for it. People know how to play against it. I would need the Resolve because it's really, really good for my Warlock. And I will greed the Aegis just in case. Okay, if I get it, it's good. If I don't get it, it's fine.
Okay. Huh. So I'm gonna need on the Aegis. I'm always about the defensive. I find I'm comfier when I have the defensive stuff. So
it's a good choice.
Yeah, I think I use that, and if I'm not mistaken, that actually helps counter the Resonator anyways, right? Because it absorbs the magic damage.
Yeah, it completely negates the Resonator.
Yeah, so 2 for 1 there, and honestly, I usually play my if I'm playing my human warlock, I already have some get a jails there, so I'm good there. As for greed, though, I'm gonna greed the Resolve, just because again that goes well with being a human warlock. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on the Resonator. As much fun as it is to kind of blow somebody up, like you said. A lot of people are learning how to play around it already, and so I think it's getting negated pretty quickly. But Jake,
it's also got nerfs, so
this is the thing. I think, and the reason why I thought about those three is because it entirely depends on what class you play, and I think all of us here don't play rogue, mage, or priest, so I assume that the Resonator would not be at the top. But it's interesting, just because that's what I think. I think that'd be my pass as well. I'd have to pass on Resonator because let's face it, playing as Shaman, I'm never gonna use it. I'm probably going to need on the Aegis as well, just because I think if I took this is the thing actually. Would I don't know anymore. This is very strange because I don't know. I don't think I'd want to take the CC immunity because I feel like I would just end up getting kidney shot for 8 seconds and die as Shaman or something like that, which would be really annoying. So actually, you know what? I'm going to pass Resonator. I'm gonna need the Aegis, and I'm going to greed the Resolve. I'm going to go with that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Huh. I would have thought you would have needed the Resolve so that you could, pop. If you're stuck in a stun or something like that, you can pop. Get out of that, pop Ghost Wolf and run around, go turbo mode and run around the pillar or something.
That is very true, but I just in my head all I can think about is just that one time where I just don't have a trinket and I get kidney shot for 8 seconds and I die. So there's just my life is just flashes before my eyes, or like a podge or like a stormbot that lasts way longer, and I just don't die all the time and stuns. It's very annoying. And just maybe that's PTSD, maybe that's not, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I wonder, that must be one of the major things is that whole fear decision making, right? Thinking about your past, having that fear, that automatic fear response, and making, okay, so that's what happened last time. I don't want to have that happen again. So what do I do to not have that happen? And at the same time, not fall into the trap of making a bad decision because you're just trying to avoid that fear response. So
yes, yeah, exactly. I think I probably might change my mind later on in the season when I'm like, oh no, this is actually really, really good, and I'm not dying. I'm just being silly. But yeah, you know how it is.
Oh yeah. Once you get more stamina. All right.
Exactly.
Well, once again, if you're sitting at home, let us know what your choices are. In the meantime, we'll quickly talk about the upcoming PvP events, and then we'll see what we can talk about in the subject analysis after that. right after I play this bumper.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
There we go. Wow, those are coming in really loud in my ears. Not gonna lie, we'll see how it sounds on the other end. All right, the upcoming WoW PvP events. So as always, Dalaran Gaming is hosting his 5v5 1v1s. So the teams of 5 that 1v1 deal in Pokemon style. Again, you have to keep an eye out on Dalaran Rogue's Twitter, because that's usually where he announced them, and he streams those over on YouTube. I just realized I totally missed one other one, is the Matcherino RBG tournament that's coming up. So I mentioned it last episode, but I'm going to put it again here. So that's going to be happening the 2nd and the 3rd of April that weekend. So it's going to be over a 2-day weekend. Pretty sure it's 2nd. That's the weekend, right? Yeah, 2nd and 3rd, Saturday, Sunday. Whew. So I know, so it's going to be, they're aiming for 6 teams, and it's going to be team captains with 10 to 13 player teams for 10v10 RBGs. So we're looking forward to that. It's NA only, so sorry, Mercy and Jake, you guys can't play.
I'm devastated.
I can tell.
I was devastated last time as well.
It's fine.
I don't know. I enjoy RBGs. As much as Arena is fun to watch, I find RBGs are more fun to watch because it's that objective basis, not just watching for somebody to die, but there's so much more nuance to it. So
yeah, I wish there was more streamed on RBGs, because they are fun. They're not quite as obviously fast paced as Arena, but there are interesting sort of micro events that happen on the battlefield, like especially in somewhere like the Mr. Pandaria battleground. I can never remember its name. Deepwind Gorge, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you've got multiple different bases that might be inked, or like big fights in the middle, stuff like that. So there's certain bits that you kind of like might see like some ninjaing or other certain sort of tactics like that, which is always quite fun. So, but there never really is too much, I find, at least nothing officially. So
no, I know over. So we mentioned it before, but over at Eminent, because I'm on the guild Discord there, they've been doing war games and streaming them as well. I know they've been doing war games. I'm not sure if they're streaming them on Twitch or if they're just doing up the videos afterwards on YouTube. But if you look up Wiz Canadian, who used to be BG Wizard, but he rebranded himself. He does show those. So if you want to see those, I'd say that's about the only one. But as far as like actual real tournaments or anything, it's few and far between, it seems like. So I guess honestly, there's a lack of community arena tournaments. That's a really bad transition. Unfortunately, there's a lack of those, but there is a lot of the official Blizzard events coming up. So the one we're just talking about, the AWC Cup there, starting this weekend. I'm quite excited, actually. There's last count I did, there's 62 teams on the EU Cup and 56 teams signed up for the NA Cup. So that's going to be you're going to be pretty busy over the next couple of days there, Mercy, slugging through those qualifiers. I think that's a lot of teams.
Yeah, it is actually. That's a lot of teams.
Yeah, it's going to be good though, I think. Well, so those are all the ones that were eligible because they're full teams and whatnot. But they may not necessarily all make it to the tournament because some people sign up and then somebody falls, doesn't show up on the day of the tournament, so then they don't check in. So we'll see how many actually show up. But and then again, Cup number 2, 3, and 4 are going to be all the following weekends: the 25th, the 1st of April, and the 8th of April. And then the MDI is going to start after that on the 15th of April, and that's going to roll all the way into May. So it's going to be quite the esports couple months. I'm pretty excited for that. I really hope that there's more community events, and if anybody knows of any, let us know and we'll happily add them to the segment and shout them out. I guess, Mercy, I'm going to ask, is there any part of the AWC Cups other than, like, are you enjoying this whole 4-cup setup that they got going on, and then it's going to roll into the circuit? Or are you excited about that? Do you like it, or do you wish it was a little bit different?
think the format is nice, where you have 4 cups and then you transition into the circuit based off points and the placements you got right.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I really dislike is the fact that the cups are like, like there's 3 days between cups basically. If you make it to top 4, you play on Sunday, then you play Wednesday again
Mm-hmm.
for the next cup. And I don't like this, especially after a new patch came, because it's too fast. You have to develop, to understand the meta, discover the meta. And last season, it lasted a lot from like July to February, right? And
Mhm.
people still discover new things last month of the season.
So true.
So,
Yeah.
from a competitor's viewpoint, it's not really fun and enjoyable to have this schedule. But if I would be a viewer without playing the AWC, I would be thrilling. It would be insane viewer experience.
I know personally I'm excited, but yeah, I remember when they first announced it, that was one of my concerns, was the short turnaround from the start of the season to the start of the cup. And I'm over on the tournament discords, I'm paying attention, and there's people that are still trying to get access into the tournament realm right now. They got emails, but they couldn't actually load up the tournament realm, so they had to do a hot patch because there's a bunch of people that are blocked out of that. So there's if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple teams that are still trying to get access to the realm just to even make their characters and get a few things situated. And like I said, like Snapshot is happening in a few hours, and then it's gonna be tight for a few players.
The tier access was fixed yesterday with a random restart around midnight server time. CET. So I think everybody has access, but of course there's a problem where when like certain teams don't get access, of course, it's gonna be a bit bad for them. Because the teams that got access first, we're a bit ahead.
Yeah. No, I think I'm pretty sure everybody that was having issues got in. I think I saw one person this morning saying that they don't have, or part of their team doesn't have TR access. So yikes. But I commiserate with what you're saying. Like that's a lot of work, and if you have a day job or something like that as well, I can't even imagine what that would be like for a player.
Yeah, but it's not even about having a day job. It's just, it's a bit rushed. I would have rather had like a week break, 2 weeks break between the cups, so you have time to like settle the meta and stuff.
Yeah.
Or this format would be nice. If this whole EWC program would have happened, let's say it happened in the season 2, towards the end would be fine, because as I said, people figured out everything and most of it was known, so there's no problem. But when there's this new season, when things are changed, then this rush stuff, don't like it.
It's never really made sense to me why a lot of the cups, especially like AWC and a lot of the esports, at least for PvP in WoW, have always taken place near the start of seasons. I've always thought it like sort of, you need the kind of the time to get used to things and for people to play, and then suddenly they can, then we can come in and play, like figure out all the bugs. The things that come to mind is kind of like was it Legion into BFA when Sea-Doo won, and there was like a lot of uproar about certain sort of like bugs with DH Boomy, with some of the talents and everything like that. Sort of all of that kind of would have been totally fine if they'd let the time go on and we had more access and understanding more bugs and sort of get those fixed, so that when the tournament realm is there and you've got everything, it's you have kind of like a bit more of an understanding, and things are kind of a bit less stressful for you. And I don't know, maybe that's my thoughts on that one. It never made sense to me that it was always at the start. It should have been sort of like either in the middle or sort of like, maybe a certain time into the season, even if they didn't know when it was going to end. A little bit further in would be a lot better. But
yeah, of course, it doesn't really make sense. In a way, I can understand why they're doing it. They want to see who can adapt fast and stuff. But if you want highest quality games, you should wait a bit.
That makes sense.
The new content is released too.
I would counter slightly that I think they do this so that they don't have a tournament straddling patches either, because they've run into that same issue where a tournament, you have a cup in season 2, and all of a sudden you have a cup in season 3, and there's been a patch and a bunch of changes, right? So then the tournament realm. Do you have the tournament realm on the current patch, or do you have the current? Is it on the? They've had tournament realms where they're on the previous patch, so there's no changes, right? So, I mean, when you talk about something that takes literally, what's it, 4 or 5 weeks after, from start of patch to being done the cups, and then you still have the circuit play to do, and then you have the LAN or the grand finals after that. I think time frame wise, I think that's why they started so early, so they don't run into that issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. I totally get it. Like it's 100% a thing. It just always made me. I suppose maybe that's because I'm used to the sort of the older style of things, but with the new style of AWC, it makes sense. I think to do it that way. But yeah, as Mercy said, from a spectator's point of view, we want to see these incredible games. And when I think about a lot of the ones that I've seen in the past, it's always been games that are further on in the season, at least when the teams, the players have figured out what works really well and what's explosive and what's great, or even come out of nowhere with this sort of very much like a left field sort of comp that just absolutely obliterates. It was kind of like almost like a one trick pony. Those are always really fun as a viewer to watch. So that's my opinion, I guess.
No worries. Valid opinion, I think. Well, rather than talk opinions, why don't we get into fact, and we'll see why it's a fact that Destrolocks can just melt faces.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
They can melt faces, right?
I mean,
yeah. I mean, if you act like a target dummy, staying in the middle of arena, not pressing his spells, yeah, it can really melt you.
All right. Well, okay. Let's. I think let's first talk. So the last time we had anybody on talking about Destrolocks, that was back in 8.3. So, I mean, obviously back then it was BFA. We had all the corruption. Warlocks had a crazy amount of haste. You were able to pump out some insanely fast chaos bolts, and everybody that I saw anywhere on forums, on Discords, in Reddit, on Twitter, they were complaining about Destro Warlocks and why they weren't being nerfed. So I have to ask, what's changed? Is there anything that's changed about the spec since BFA, since 8.3? Or is it basically the same, it's just the board power is different?
A lot has changed since BFA. I mean, BFA was a dream expansion for Warlocks. You had you have a really insane Azerite trait called Flashpoint that was giving you. It was a lot of haste until it got nerfed, but it was still really, really good. And talking specifically about Season 4, you had the haste corruptions, like you said, the Versa ones. You're pretty much a turret, a tower, like an attack tower sitting in the middle of arena and spamming damage. They also removed some talents from your kit. Talking about what changed, and Mastery got a bit reworked. You gain some abilities, but I don't think the abilities you gain make up for the ones you lost. And that's pretty much it. Warlock right now is pretty much BFA Warlock, but a bit weaker.
Okay. Well, then here, I want to dig into the talent so bad right now, but I think before we do that, why don't you run through just so the people listening kind of understand what's the playthrough as a Destro Warlock? What is your rotation like? Like how are you playing this spec?
Well, I mean, you start the game by placing a good gate in a good demonic circle, so you have like a safety out. Then what I like to do is I go between the middle or somewhere where I can have the best angle on my enemies in arena, right? Then I start with like conflagrate because you have 2 charges. Then you start ramping up, getting immolate on everyone in the arena, pets, players, whatnot. And then as soon as you see them like pushing in, let's say there's 2 melees, as soon as they're on you or like they're close to you, you can start pressing your damage abilities. Like I would cast a decimating bolt, get my stacks, the insta stack and popping CDs, I would cast an infernal and then just chaos bolts and send them home. Send them behind pillar.
It's as simple as that.
Yep. It's so simple. I don't know why I wasn't playing Destrolocks before.
Yeah.
Just press Chaos Bolt and win. That's it.
Yeah. It's so.
Yeah, but I mean, priorities. Sorry for interrupting, but priorities
No.
should be keeping Immolate up and not getting capped on your soul shards.
Okay.
Not getting interrupted when they have big damage cities ready, and getting out as many Chaos Balls or Incinerate with the proc as many as you can.
Awesome.
I think there's something really fun about Destro. I've always thought this, even from back in the day when you'd watch like Kobrak on YouTube, and just the big damage that you can put out. Just it always seems so fun to me. Just like I don't know, just Destro in general just always seems so fun, especially the changes obviously going into Wrath and then going onwards. Like I won't lie, I did play a little bit of Destrolock in BFA season 3. Full haste was funny. So but it was definitely some interesting parts about it. I don't know. I just always think it's like, especially now that you can havoc Chaos Bolt 2 different targets. Always just I mean, it seems like a fun class spec to play, even if you do end up like molding a little bit when melee are on you. So,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking. So when you're talking that whole setup and everything, I'm thinking that's mostly on the threes aspect in an arena. How does that change if you're doing twos, or would you even do twos as a Destrolocks?
If there's any warlocks out there, I would not recommend playing Destro in twos. You're gonna mold like never before. My favorite spec for twos is Afri Warlock, because you can heal a lot and you can kite people and run away from them, or Demo. But Destro, no, I would not recommend ever.
All right, good to know. Good to know. And I'm gonna play dumb. Where's like good positioning for a portal, and how do you respond if you're kicked on that? Because I don't know how many times I've like the door's open, I go to the pillar, I try to drop the portal, and next thing I know, I got a damn warrior that's heroic leaped on me, and I'm kicked. Like, what do you do on those two?
I mean, that's a really good question. But I think you mean the demonic gateway, just to be clear, not the okay. Right. Well, depends what you're facing. If I'm facing an RMP, or like a melee, like a warrior, a windwalker, a DH, something that can stop, or even a mage blink something else that can double blink and stomach it, I try to be a bit more careful with my gate placement. I'm not gonna try to do an insta good gate, I'm gonna place a gate as soon as gates open, and then like replace it when we can, basically. Because I mean, having a bad gate is much better than not having a gate at all.
So true.
Because usually when people stop your first gate, they're gonna keep stopping and you're gonna use everything, and you're gonna get annoyed, and that's what happens with me, at least. And
it's a highway to a lose, basically. After that, tilted.
Just tilt from the gates open. It's not good.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you consider a good gate then?
Well, say, like, for example, Nagrand Arena. You go in Nagrand, you go to the left pillar. A bad gate is if you put a gate from the left pillar to the right pillar.
Okay.
Because you're still in your own half of the map, and you don't want that. And a really good gate would be from your left pillar towards the middle, towards the front left pillar. That would be a good gate. Okay. Now let's talk about, let's say Mugambala, right? A good gate would be if you get to the middle pillar and you put a gate from the middle to upstairs.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
That would be a really good gate. But a bad gate would be from, like, you just get out of the room and you put the gate towards the middle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, those Mugambala pillars. Sorry, the gates up to the top are so annoying.
Yeah, they're very annoying. Yeah, that's why you have to get one.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You're not gonna be able to get one every game, so you have to do this a bit bad gate sometimes.
Yeah.
I
think that's probably my problem, is that I was doing bad gates just to get the gate out, and then not getting around to replacing a good gate, because
Yeah.
But at 800 CR, it's kind of hard to focus sometimes.
We've all been there.
Yeah. All right. I guess coming back to obviously with your players, you're you're obviously not playing alone. So, and we all know, PvP is all about the setups, right? It's all about getting the CC chains. It's all about setting up the goes and stuff like that. I'm assuming it's the same, whatever comp you're playing with a warlock. So what are you looking to do then for a setup? How would you start it, or are you leading off of where somebody else has already started?
No matter what comp you play, right now it's pretty hard to start as a warlock, the setup chain, because the problem is you have to stand still to cast, while other classes move at 140% movement speed, right? So it should be impossible to get CC going unless you like doing out of something, but generally you can do Havoc and Coil and get a fear out of the Coil, or Shadow Fury and a fear, or even an Infernal into a fear. It depends. Usually I'm not the one starting CC when I play my warlock, because people don't allow me to start CC. I just can't. I would if I could.
Fair. So you're waiting for your teammates to start something, and then you go in with the fear or with the Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
it's a bit, when you ship, because I play with the mage nowadays. If you ship a target, it's gonna stay in place and you can fear out, right? But if I would start the CC chain, my target would get feared a bit away, and then I would have to move and then re-fear, and it becomes a bit clunky to cast this myself.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Just gotta, I guess, I think that's probably on the lower scale of the CR. I think players are so busy not trusting their teammates that they're just trying to do things, and so it's true. Yeah. You laugh, right, Jake? But
I'm laughing because it's the truth. You spend. I feel like low CR is just a minefield of I don't trust you. Prime example is today. I was doing threes with my mate who's just. I'm a fully geared enhance, and he's literally got 30k HP. We won every single game, but we went through about 7 or 8 different healers on his little. I don't know. We played maybe 12 games, and it's true. There is just a lot of mistrust and sort of you just flat out can't. Doesn't matter what XP they've got at a certain rating. So people just don't really want to do anything, or don't, I suppose, have the trust to kind of are you going to set up for me or help me set up or play the comp as it should be played. So
yeah, and maybe that's it. There's a number of people that don't know how it's supposed to be played, so they just do I know I do this button and it it starts the CC, but I guess really Big, I know Big would be happy if I asked this one, to juke or to not juke?
I would say it's really important to juke some important spells, but there are some factors that sometimes make it bad if you juke. Say you play with a Holy Pala with Conqueror, you don't really want to juke, you just want to tank everything. But also even clutch situations where let's say you have to get a bolt to win the game, or a fear to win the game, and the other enemy team knows it as well, then you have to juke, in my opinion.
Okay.
But probably if you not really try hard, you can just cast whatever.
Okay.
Cast a fear, get kicked, cast a bolt, right? That's the Destro guide.
Yeah. Better to get kicked on the fear than the bolt.
Yeah.
It's nice having 3 schools of magic to play with sometimes.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. It's nice to not have to drop a totem and have it do all the work for you.
Oh, I couldn't possibly comment on what totem you're talking about.
All right, one last before I turn. I know Jake is itching to ask a bunch of other questions, but I just have one other one. And how do you as a warlock play? How does playing against a paladin with their anti-fear setup? How do you work around that?
It's horrible.
Why?
It's one of the. It's very bad. It's horrible. What can I say? It's an anti-fun mechanic that's designed against warlocks. So.
Yeah, but how do you play around? Is there a way to play around it, or are you just resigned to the fact that your fears are going to be almost negated and just figure out other ways.
There's no way to play around it. You cannot avoid. If they have it, they will play it.
Okay.
They will function no matter what. So you just have to have someone else in your team that can do the CC for you. Because a full fear on a paladin with that cone is like 3 seconds, and yeah, it's like horrible. It's one of the mechanics that it's added in the game, and you like sit there and think, I mean, why is this in the game? And you cannot find a real reason.
Yeah. It's like, who designed that? Why? Why do you hate
Yeah.
warlocks?
Yeah, I would love to ask some questions, some why questions, like why is this in the game?
Exactly.
It would be funny to listen to the answer.
Well, I've heard there's a theory that if you win the AWC, you get to ask one question from the devs. So there you go. You've got your one question.
What would be my one question?
Yeah, I mean, what? Actually, realistically speaking, what would be your one question? Jokes aside.
My one question would be this: when are you guys gonna make a Discord with all the top PvPers so we can talk to each other? That would be my question.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Well, hopefully they can actually go in and do that, because I swear, wasn't there what I can't remember if Big was saying this at one point, either on one of the when I was on earlier or last time, I can't remember, but didn't there used to be a Discord or something with a lot of the big players a long time ago? I can't remember.
No, so there. Sorry, go ahead, Mercy.
Yeah, there was a Discord with all the top players from EWC. It was in. I joined in BFA season 1, I think, but I think by the end of BFA, the Discord was deleted without any notice or anything. It just like disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Is there no way? I know that it's sort of like why don't Blizzard do it? But is there no way for you guys as like a community of top players to create something like that? Maybe figure out some, if someone could like even moderate it that isn't maybe part of it, but at least like could like sort of, I don't know, have it all together there so you guys could do it.
I mean, you could get a Discord full of top PvPers, but thing is, if it's not official with Blizzard involved directly, there's gonna be a lot of bias, because I mean, everyone's gonna want his class to be the best, while he's gonna want the classes that counter his class in comp to be bad, right? So you're just gonna have, I don't know, like, let's say a pretty bad Discord or a community to discuss if you would make that as like a community.
I see.
But if Blizzard decides to take a step and it's gonna be like more objective, it's like a bit more official, where people can express their concern without being ultra biased, then yeah, I could see that working. But player-driven community about talking changes, I don't think it's gonna work ever.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was brought up in socials because they're talking about that, and I think that one was, while it was PvP, it was run by the WoW esports team, and while yes, they kind of, it wasn't even inside their job, it wasn't even inside any of their requirements, but they still took all the information because they're passionate about PvP, and they were delivering it to the devs. But then it was, so now it's like on the third hand, and then it's up to the devs to, it's always up to the devs to decide what they want to do or not do, right? So yeah. I think that was always the issue, is that although it was an official Discord, it wasn't a dev Discord, it was just on the esports side. So
yeah, definitely it wasn't an official Discord, it was just esports people, like you said, and us. It was no direct communication with the devs.
No.
But that was my point. I would like to have a Discord that's like directly with the devs, or the dev that does PvP stuff.
Exactly. And I think even if even if they didn't even take on board any of the changes, at least your voice is heard, and the voice of people that play at a very high level can be at least said, or anything. There's something that they might think about. It might not come straight away, but maybe there's something that might actually sort of make a little change. Like, they've been very on top of things recently, haven't they? With a lot of the changes, which is amazing. So if they had more options to it, other than, I suppose, maybe the real I suppose the kind of their sort of like Discord for changes now is actually Revo's Twitter, because apparently he's the guy that gets the changes done now.
Yeah,
so maybe that's where it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you're very right with what you said about that. Players are very frustrated; they cannot vent, and I mean, the only place you're like left to vent is the Twitter,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you like do tweets. And I mean, it happens with me recently. I do a tweet. I mean, guys, please, but warlocks. There's only one warlock that got rank 1
I saw that.
worldwide. And you know, a guy comes in and says, "Hey, but bro, warlocks are very OP in BFA season 4." and I'm sitting there, I was like, "Come on, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
You're never gonna live that
all
down, mate.
right. I mean, what can I say?"
That's going to be the answer for the next 3 expansions. You know that, right, Mercy?
Yeah, I mean, guys, imagine you go into the Discord with the devs, then you post, and I post this like, guys, please buff warlocks, you know, and a dev comes and says, you know, a dev would never do this, comes and says, yo, Mercy, but you know, you had what you wished for in BFA season 4. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, the tagline after that is just wait for BFA Classic, mate. And
Yeah. Or he's gonna say, go play some rat, bro.
yeah, go play some round. Yeah, exactly. Well, I
That'd be
mean,
funny.
maybe that's gonna happen. So
Oh my gosh, my face hurts from laughing and smiling so hard. That was funny. You know, you're saying that because all in the back of my head, I'm just like the wheels turning, just imagining setting up a Discord. You know, have it like the secret Discord or whatever, and have it, but it would have to be segregated because it has to be, you know, arena versus RBGs because they're 2 separate groups, and definitely I think not just AWC pro players, but just people that are high CR. Like you'd probably have to have some segregation there. You know, if you've, you know, 22, 24, whatever, right? But I, like you said, it would just turn into a really just a pool of bitching because without a dev there, that's all it'd be. All right,
it's hard though, isn't it? But anyway, enough of that.
Yeah. All right, I think how about Jake? I had pretty much the first initial limelight there. Do you have any questions? What do you want to talk about warlocks?
Well, I mean, I'd love to know, you know, what talents, you know, you take and what are the sort of things that you, when you go into arena, and obviously we're lucky, at least in the modern retail version of the game, that we can see our opponents in the starting room. When you see, you know, certain comps and everything, is there much of a change in the talents that you take when you go into, you know, certain comps?
I think the sort of normal talents are pretty much the same every game. The only thing that you swap is reverse entropy to shadow burn when you don't really have to cast. And for example, you're getting tunneled by 2 millis and the rest of shaman. You're not gonna get too much casts off, right? So you're just gonna play spec for more instant damage.
Mm-hmm.
And all the stuff you change is you go from Roaring Blaze to Grimoire of Sacrifice. It's the same scenario against jungle where you need an imp, but everything else just stays the same. I can probably give you guys a talent calculator because I'm not sure I can log my warlock and tell you. I don't know the names by.
No, I trust you, dude. Don't worry. That totally makes sense. Yeah, because that's the thing. Sort of. I mean, do you wish that there were more options to take? You know, for example, in this current patch, because of the, you know, legendaries and the way that tier sets work, you can, as enhanced, play 2 different builds. One is sort of like being based off, you know, Doom Winds, that sort of instant burst damage, versus the Witch Doctors one, which is sort of like more consistent with Spirit Wolves and just kind of like really maximizing off your tier set. Do you kind of wish there were those options where you could kind of do something really, really different?
In terms of talents, if I would wish of course, I would love if every single class would have 3 meaningful talents that you could think of picking every single game. But that's not the case, and most of the classes, including Warlock, they just have a standard build that works for Arena. And you just change, I mean, in Warlock's case, you can just change 2 talents only. You change the 25th level row and the 45th one. That's it. Everything else just stays the same every single game. So I would like more diversity, yeah.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, to be honest, I think that's what everyone wants. I think that was probably maybe the benefits of the earlier kind of like the old school talent systems, that you had a bit more of a choice there in terms of change things up. So, you know what, fingers crossed. My hope really for 10.0 is that we get something a bit more, I suppose, intricate in that way, that we can kind of play around a bit. But, you know, maybe that's just not where the game is going. But okay, cool, fantastic. Well, I'm then curious about your PvP talents. What would you go for? Would you change most of those up? Are those, because I know there's obviously been some extra ones added for almost every single class, some interesting ones specifically. And would you change those up? Which ones would you regularly go for?
Well, PvP talents, thing is, half are useless. The other ones are just insane. So if you would have like 5 PvP talents to choose, it would be really, really good. But the PvP talents usually play Demon Armor into melees, right? Or if it's at least 1 melee in the other team. And you can also play into spellcasters, or you can play both. You can play Netherward, the Reflect Warlock has. It's a PvP talent. Then you can also play Bonds of Fel. It's a new PvP talent. It was added recently to the game in Shadowlands. It's really cool abilities. So they can add good PvP talents if they work a bit. But yeah, I'm a bit let down by the ones currently. Because as I said, you have a good half and a bad half.
That totally makes sense, because there's some classes got some really cool PvP talents recently, and it kind of, I don't know about you, Mercy, but it gave me hope going forwards, and I'd love to see more of them become baseline. Like, for example, Ice Wall baseline would be, I don't know, as for mage players, sounds like a really cool idea. That would just, how amazing would that be in any sort of situation that, even if you're leveling and doing other things like that, it'd be just lots and lots of fun, just in general, like these really cool abilities that we can use. And obviously, hopefully, for warlocks, they get some extra stuff as well, because I mean, there's tons about the class that you could kind of just play around with, I suppose, if the code lets you, I suppose. But yeah,
definitely gives me hope that they're adding these PvP talents. I just hope they're gonna keep doing it, keep reworking the ones that are very low play rate, because I'm pretty sure they have numbers towards these statistics. And
I think they have been doing that, haven't they?
Yeah, every once in a while when they have the time in the dev cycles. I would say it's a catch-22 though, because it also feels, I don't know what feels worse, having a bunch of talents where you actually don't want to pick any because there's only like 3 good ones to pick from, or only having 3 slots and you have like 8 good talents and you want to pick them all, but you can only pick 3. So
both are bad feelings, both situations.
It is unfortunate, but I would say, listening to that whole conversation, I think that's where the PvP talents really come in, because I always find with the talent trees, because we're min-maxers, right? So we always find the ones that are the best, and sometimes, like you said, on this circumstance maybe this one, on that circumstance that one, but really there's not really much change, because for the most part this choice is the best in that tree, in that line. It's always the best choice is the min-max. And it's more in the PvP talents you really find that ability to really tweak the class in the PvP scenario. I think that's where it really adds to the gameplay. I wouldn't say you really see that a lot in the main talents. So while I agree, I'd love to see more choices in the talent tree. I think every time we've had a conversation about the talent trees, it's always come down to, yeah, that one's pretty good, but this one's better for whatever reason.
This one is fun, but you have to have this one because it's just better.
Exactly.
Like you said with the Ice Wall, I'm sure everyone would love to play Ice Wall, but sometimes it just doesn't fit, and you're like, just gonna play the ones that are the best.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, winning is above everything else. So you gotta go for that. Cool. Well, that's awesome. And I suppose that kind of leads on to really kind of Covenant choices, because things have changed quite rapidly over the seasons as certain things have been buffed, certain things have been nerfed, and I suppose there's more options in general for a lot of classes to take different Covenants and kind of really benefit, especially with the double legendaries coming up. Sort of between how do you feel about the Covenant choices now for Warlocks and Destro in particular?
Destro Warlocks has only one good Covenant, and it's the Necrolord. The legendary synergizes well to good, and the Soulbinds trees and the Fleshcraft and everything is just it's a very good fit for Destrolocks. There's no other Covenant that I would ever play in competitive as of right now. I would only play Necrolord on my Destro.
And then for other Warlock specs, is Is there a bit more choice then?
I mean, an athlete plays Night Fae.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, that's also set in stone. But I think Demo can work both with Night Fae and with Necro. You can play as a Necro Lord, you can play the build that everyone complains about, the one-shot Demon Bolts and stuff. And as a Night Fae, you play a bit more towards your Tyrant, so your Tyrant does damage.
Yeah,
but I
that
think
makes
Demo
sense.
can work with both Covenants. But Athlete is Night Fae only, and Destro is Necro Lord only.
And is that? Do you mind that, or would you prefer to like be able to have a bit more choice? Like if certain covenants were a bit more buffed for, especially for like Destro and what you're playing, and against certain comps, could you see there being an advantage to being for example, going to play, I don't know, Venthir or Kyrian as opposed to Necrolord for Destro?
I don't really mind it. I think Destro Necro, it's good. I think it has good points. I think it has good synergies. And I don't mind not having more than one viable Covenant.
That's
It's
fair
like it's a big part right now, the Covenants, and yeah, it's fine having one.
That's where all the board power comes from, right? So
yeah.
True.
Are you at all concerned about the Necrolord shield getting nerfed again? Or is that not a concern for the Warlock?
I don't think it's a concern, because Warlocks already have more HP than other classes. If you play Demon Armor and you have a passive 10% increased stamina, it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really affect Warlocks using Fleshcraft, because they already have bonus stamina. So, don't mind it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Lucky.
it's not. Yeah.
Nice.
But, yeah, because I think they've done that a few times now, where they've nerfed the Fleshcraft, the size of the shield you can get, right? So
yeah, it's been nerfed a couple of times. Yeah.
See, I was Team Necrolord from the beginning. I always thought Necrolord was the coolest covenant ever. They were
Same, yeah.
I don't know. It's maybe this you feel the same way, Mercy, but like with Necrolord, it always reminded me of old school Lich King Wrath vibes. That kind of like undying army, sort of like skeletal guys fighting, kind of like almost like a mixture between the sort of I don't know what, like Valajar, like the kind of what are they called? Oh my god, the name has gone out of my head. But the kind of Vrykul, that's it. The Vrykul and kind of the kind of the sort of like Nordic vibes with meets Undead Horde kind of thing, and I really like that. I always thought they were cool, so I was always like, so glad that at least for Elemental you could play Necrolord, and I was like, yeah, Fleshcraft is great, it's amazing, and everyone's like, no, like I remember, was it like they did a poll and Necrolord was like 5% of people were Necrolord. I wonder if you did that poll nowadays, how many people would be Necrolord? I think it'd be about 60-70% probably.
Yeah, I think so. So.
Cool. Great. Well, then I suppose conduits is our next topic, really.
yeah.
How are you finding those? Especially, obviously, I know Marileth is with a Soulbind. Obviously, is the one that you're going for. Obviously, for the amazing defensive traits. With Destra, is there much you like need to take? Do you have to dip into other specs with the conduits? To kind of like get some workaround, or is there much of a, I don't know, I suppose
it's really it's straightforward with the conduits, because it doesn't have any good ones. It just has in the whole tree there's one good conduit. It's like really, really good, and it's the Ashen Remain one that increases your damage of Chaos Bolt and Incinerate will have Immolate on the target. And like you just go on the left side, so you get the Wolf Shield. And personally, I prefer having the Necrolord Covenant Conduit with the Infernal one in potency. Because now with the tier sets, you're gonna get a Blasphemy, which is an Infernal really, and synergizes really well.
Yes, yeah, I've seen the tier sets for Destro, and I know a lot of Destrolocks are incredibly excited for that, because it looks. I mean, in my head, all I'm thinking is Infernal Stun, Proc Chance, then then your actual Infernal Stun off the top of that, and I don't think they DR, do they? So it's just like 2 seconds stun after 2 seconds stun or whatever, and it's just sounds horrifying, but amazing, obviously, for Destrolocks.
The tier sets are really good for Destro, I agree. But they, in a weird way, I'm saying this, it still doesn't make it be a top contender or have chances to like compete with top comps and stuff.
Well, I suppose you've
Yeah.
had the opportunity really to try those out on the tournament.
Yeah, I'm playing every day my warlock. Yeah,
Okay.
feels like it's good into everything that's not rogue mage or jungle. So
I feel like that's the same on ladder, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're not doing well into these comps, in my opinion, your spec is not that great.
Not viable.
Yeah.
So when I was reading the tier set, the first thing I was thinking in my head was, you know, these baby infernals because they stun, possibly pulling, you know, getting trinkets if somebody, you know, if you happen to catch a good stun or something like that on a free infernal, that you trinket and then you'd be able to get somebody into a full stun on a real infernal. Is that even a possibility, or is it noticeably different that somebody would sit the proc and wait
No,
for
of course, if you get the infernal proc on them and they are low, they have to trinket. There's no in between, and they don't DR with each other, so you can infernal stun into infernal stun from the proc. Basically, sitting 4 seconds in a stun that they can dispel, and they only have to trinket.
Okay. Wow. So, or you could even split off. You could then get do the proc, get the proc on one, and then immediately infernal stun and off target too, right? Or would you even do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
You can do that, but usually what happens in the games is that to generate shards, because it's shard based, right? You have to spend 10 shards. What I usually do is just I put my infernal to get the shards, not to, because then you wait a bit too long, procure tier set and stuff. So I just put my infernal to get the shards to spend them, and then do stuff with the infernal proc from the tier set.
Okay. Good to
That
know.
makes sense. You obviously you can work off that because that's like it'll just give you a sort of opportunities to just go because you get shards from just infernal being out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
That's amazing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
it's good tier set. It's really good. One of the better ones.
yeah, absolutely. I think there's some out there that are pretty useless in general, which is
Looking at you, Lock.
yeah, exactly. Oh, it feels bad, man. Well, I'm looking forward to the Destro revolution when it comes up, when everyone gets their tier sets in maybe like a couple of months, but or maybe less, hopefully. Cool. Well, that makes sense. And then I suppose legendaries teaming up with that. What would you, obviously being Necrolord, is there sort of which kind of options would you go for then with your double legendaries?
Yeah, so right now with only one Lego, you got to play the Necrolord legendary.
Mm-hmm.
But when the double Legos can be released or available, you have some to choose from. For example, the one that gives you 3 conflagrates instead of 2, or the one that makes your like madness of something. I can pronounce that name. Where that makes your after you cast a bolt, your next bolt is gonna be faster and gonna hit harder.
Yeah, the madness of Akir.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I'm only saying that because I can read it
Cephus,
right now.
maybe if you're like facing a rogue mage, you want to play orc. That's pretty much it. I think these 3 are the best ones. With Cephus being it's like the worst, and the other 2 being close contenders for being the best one.
And that's obviously you'd swap to Cephas just as a kind of like, I suppose, last resort with into R or like I guess stun heavy comps.
Yeah, go into RMP only. There's RMP is the only comp that requires you to have Cephus in. Because it's the OP.
It is strong.
Would you pair Cephus with? You're going to put on Cephus for that reason. Would you also pair it with the CC breaker trinket, the resolve?
The resolve? I don't think so, because it's really easy to abuse that trinket as rock mage. For example, I have that trinket on my warlock, and I play it into every single matchup besides rock mage.
Oh,
because it can be very easy abusable.
What would you choose instead into rogue mage
as a trinket? Just the medallion. No matter what the race you play, even as human, I think you have to play medallion.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
Great. Well, and just for our viewers' sake, like, what is the Necrolord legendary? What does it do, kind of by buffing the spec, at least in Necrolord?
The Necrolego makes it that your next 3 incinerates after you cast a decimating bolt are gonna do increased damage and are gonna always critical strike.
That's pretty. I mean, obviously that kind of takes a lot of the damage away from Chaos Spell as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different school, so if you get kicked on these incinerates, you can cast a bolt.
Oh.
And it has good synergy with Roaring Blaze as well. It's a talent that after you press Conflagrate on a target, they take 25% more damage from Incinerate. So it's a really good synergy with the class overall.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, absolutely. So options is always good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And then in terms of, like the usual stuff, sort of your kind of stat priorities, I'm imagining obviously Versa being the main one. What would you go after that?
I gear my Warlock a bit different, as in I want as much haste as possible. Then into Versa, right? This is something like I like to play on my Warlock, because I think I can be slippery enough to like avoid some damage while having much haste.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, it's like, for me, it's like haste, Versa into mastery. Crit doesn't really do anything, and intellect, at least on TR, you're gonna have a lot of intellect, so don't really have to worry about it.
Don't have to worry about it. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I have to say that on live, right now, any piece you get is better to equip it because of the item level and intellect.
Yeah, of course.
What I was talking about was like TR environment. But on live server, intellect is the best stat.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. And there's no options for like I know that Mastery had this incredible one-shot capability back in the maybe like last expansion. I'm guessing it's fairly useless nowadays without being obviously to stack it up to a higher degree, and obviously the cap that's on, once you go over 30% of anything.
You still
nowadays.
stack it up to insane numbers. You can stack it on like tournament realm, you got like 60% plus.
Oh wow.
But there's no way as strong as in BFA. Yeah. It's not the same. Because in BFA, if you fully stack mastery, you would hit 100k plus bolts when everyone had like 500k.
Yeah.
But now, the difference between full Versa and full mastery is like 1.2k damage. So
I see. Better to get haste and get more bolts out then, especially with that wasn't Madness of Akir, that legendary.
Yeah, get more haste and try to have the game in your hands, right? Like control the people that are around you, and it's gonna be more fluid to do damage when you're playing full haste.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, Mercy, thank you. That's all the questions that I have. Gerissar, do you have anything else you want to add before you crack on? I mean, I've written this down. Like my Destrolocks guys are going to come out next.
Too funny. I think so one I found it interesting that what you're talking about is the difference between TR gearing versus the live ladder gearing. Just why is there that? Is that just because of the set item level over on TR and just the ability of everybody to have like the same gear in that? Is that why, or is it because of you're trying to get more survivability and try to get a few other nuances there than just stacking the intellect like you would on live?
Yeah, well, the thing is on TR, everything is scaled up to max level, right? Besides a few PV items, 278, I believe. So everyone is gonna have the same range of intellect, right? There's no big, it's like 50 intellect difference from equipping some PV items and not having full PvP. So it's very minor difference. But on live, if you get, let's say, from the weekly vault, you get in 3 weeks, you get head, you get chest, and you get legs from the vault, and then you buy yourself shoulders, belt, and boots. You're gonna have massive item level and intellect and main stat advantage over someone that got like 2 rings, a neck, and a cloak.
Yeah.
So you just want to hit these power spikes faster on live, so you can just simply outgear your opponents and beat them faster and easier.
Okay. That's what I was kind of wondering. So while right now that's an issue versus in the future, assuming that you're all in the same CR bracket, everybody's going to have gear eventually about the same level, give or take a bit. So it'll be a bit more into those nuances of choosing some PvE items or choosing a few other items that have some scalability to them. So
yeah.
All right, racials, because they do matter. What's the best in slot racial for Destro Warlock?
Orc is really insane. I would say I would rate Orc as the best.
Okay.
Then I would say Human is the second best. And as a third best, I would say it's the normal Dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
Then the older ones, I don't really rate because they don't matter that much.
Dwarf Master Race, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Female Dwarf Master Race.
I mean, with Jungle and Asarogs rising, Dwarf probably is going to be maybe even higher than Human. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Just because of the stone blood there to get rid of all the bleeds?
Yeah. Get rid of all the bleeds, and while the buff is active, you gain 10% physical damage reduction, and you also gain 2% more crit damage, which helps with your bolts because they always crit, and incinerates as well. There's a few good synergies with Dwarf.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
No, it's good. It used to be really good as well when with the Maledict treatment as well.
Yeah,
because you could get dispelled on one, and then when the second one comes, or even if they do a triple Maledict, you just instantly stone form, and you basically stop the whole thing, which made me feel so good. It made me feel very justified when I was playing Dwarf Shaman as opposed to Orc Shaman like everyone else was.
Yeah. Sit there and laugh in your dwarfen cackle.
Yeah.
All right. I think you briefly mentioned, but just to line them out. So for comps, for twos, don't bother, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, I mean, twos play with the Holy Priest. If you really want to play twos, play with a Holy Priest or a Holy Palace. Something that can stun targets in your line and you cast on them. Anything else is maybe a good Resto Druid with Feral Affinity, but otherwise, just don't bother.
All right. And honestly, be prepared that you're going to struggle.
Be prepared you're going to get Omega tilted from people running from you. That's what I'm going to say.
Everyone's got a freedom.
Yeah. Freedom and movement speed. Destrolocks counters.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Don't try chasing the shaman. We know that already. What about on threes then? What are you looking for to build a team?
I mean, I think the only comp that's viable today, as of today, is Magelock. Destro. Fire Mage Destro or Frost Mage Destro.
Okay.
Both could work. Maybe you have the potential to do well with the Elish Shaman, but I think after is just better with the Elish Shaman.
Fair enough.
So,
and with that, does it matter with the healers, or are you looking for Holy Priest again, or Holy Pala, or does it?
I think anything else besides Resto Shaman and Mistweaver Monk should do the work. Even Mistweaver could be a bit viable, but not with Resto Shaman.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, distracted by chat. I'm not going to ask that, chat. All right. Okay. So I think you kind of mentioned at the beginning, but I just want to finish off. What do you do to win? Like, how do you win as a Destrolock? Is it just fear, Death Coil, Shadow Bolt, or not, or Incinerate, Chaos Bolt, or is it? Is there something else? What's the exact win condition you're going for?
Well, the win condition for Warlocks in Shadowlands is that people are unaware of what you're casting, and they stand in the middle and let you cast multiple bolts on them. Otherwise, it's very hard for a Warlock to have a win condition nowadays. Everyone is moving at insane movement speed, and the biggest counter to the class that has to cast on you is to just run away from them. So, or kick them, control them a bit. So, it's a bit awkward to do something as a Destrolock.
Sorry, just thought of this. Do you focus cast your Chaos Bolts so that they don't know which one you're actually casting on, or do you just is it the main target that you're casting on?
Yeah, I focus cast my bolts. When I know the target, let's say I'm facing a Windwalker, right, and I know he's gonna use Karma, I can just I mean, for sure he has to use karma. Let's say he's 10%, doesn't have kick or anything. I'm not even gonna bother casting a bolt on him. I'm just gonna do a focus bolt, so he presses karma because he has to, and then I get my bolt off on the healer. So it's
Fair
good
enough.
to have focus bolt.
Yeah, because he doesn't know where it's coming or where it's going, so better to.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's forced to do the play that he has to do, press
Mhm.
karma, and then you mind game him and you bolt the healer, just to do it.
The real mind games there, not the fake Venthir one. The real mind games between two people.
Yeah.
That was some serious mind games. And
Exactly.
and how do I kill you?
I mean, not gonna lie, warlocks are a bit tanky. How you kill me? I mean,
Yeah. Like I said, you're tanky. I mean, you already said you got the plus 10% stamina. You got the talents to do damage reduction and that. Like, how do I kill a warlock? Do you, or is it better to just CC the warlock and kill one of your teammates?
I would say it's better to CC the warlock, but warlocks can definitely die to heavy burst comps and CC heavy comps like jungle RMP. Maybe even a melee cleave that turns you down, like let's say like I don't know, like a TSG can get insane pressure.
Okay.
You do die, but usually I would say it's probably better to go someone else than a rock.
I think in summary there, the idea is if you queue into Destrolocks, just give up /AFK and let the win happen, because that's the most rational thing to do, really. So
Yeah.
Someone tells me that most people won't do that because
No.
everybody wants to win.
Well, I mean, I was trying my best. I mean, I hope some people will listen to me, some people won't. Maybe I'll just queue up with Destrolocks and hope for the best.
Hey,
I mean, the
yeah.
problem is that it's squishy. The problem is that you can't really finish people off. That's as I said, people just run from you.
Yeah, I feel that actually a little bit. I do feel that in my soul.
I think that I'd prefer that, though, that as a team you have to kill somebody as a team rather than as a team do a little bit of setup, but one person just does the 100 to 0. Because that, I think I'd rather it be that the whole team is part of the kill, not just one person and everybody else just does some CC.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I also agree. I mean, this is the problem is, though, I think with the way that the game has gone, and when you're playing a class that has to like hard cast to do damage and kill, it's really difficult in a scenario where it literally is just you as the lone DPS, like, which is why I feel like, you know, Destro obviously doing better in 3s than 2s, or being more fun in 3s than 2s, just because you have got the second DPS to kind of like, okay, I can get them down to 20%. Now it's your turn to kind of get them there. So I feel the same way sometimes with Ellie. Like, if I don't get procs when I'm doing 2s, it can be really, really hard to kind of get sort of the like a kill when they're low, because within 3 seconds their healers back out, and, you know, Holy Word Serenities come out and that guy's top to full again, and I've got to you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels bad, man. Like, I want some. It'd be nice if I did. That's why, you know, I've almost ended up having to take my old Maledict trinket just to like actually win games in 2s now, because it's sort of like, okay, you're low, I've got CC, I haven't got anything, so I'll just press this trinket that absorbs your health. That's all I can do. It's really annoying, but
I mean, after all, Shadowlands' philosophy was, you know, they want people to die, but only to certain classes. You know what I mean?
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
They wanted people to die, but not warlocks.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess in a way they did listen to everybody complaining in BFA, just not in BFA. It's
Yeah.
All right. My favorite question of the whole series that we always ask at the end of every episode, or at end of every subject analysis, is the one thing you would change. So I'm gonna throw this to Mercy first. You're sitting down with Ian Hazakostas, and he says, Mercy, one thing, you name it, doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter the improbability, we'll figure that out. What's one thing you would change about Destro Warlocks in PvP?
Yeah, I would ask for 2 talents only. That's what I would ask. And talents are, I would ask for Flashpoint, the Azerite trait from BFA that gave you haste whenever Immolate would tick on a target above 90%. And I would ask for Conflagrate Roots to be back in the game. I know it's two things, but
All right. So the one thing you would ask for is a change in the talents. It just happens to be two
yeah,
things inside the talents.
add these two talents. This is my request.
Okay. All right. Jake.
Is it about Destrolocks specifically?
Yeah.
As one thing? Oh. Remove them from the game? No. To be honest, I think this might be a little bit left field, but bring back the old animation for Chaos Bolt.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm down with that. 100%.
It was
oh my god.
cool. Like that. It's kind of like, what was it? Like it was like a dragon almost coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the new changes they made to a lot of the casting animations. Obviously, as a caster main, I really enjoyed that. It was cool. It's a really cool thing for them to do, where especially when you cast Chaos Ball, it looks like you're kind of gripping the kind of fell energy out from the ground and you're about to do it. But it'd be cool if that sort of Chaos Ball wasn't just some sort of it wasn't kind of like a loogie coming out your mouth or your nose or whatever. It was kind of more like that dragony kind of thing coming to kind of just destroy you. That'd be my one change. I'd go back, maybe not necessarily the same as it was, but that similar design, but kind of more, kind of like how they, I suppose, kind of make it more HD. I'd like that. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Have either of you watched the Warcraft movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scene where Medivh does a weird spell and then sucks all the fell energy out of the orcs and just desiccates them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want Destrolocks to be able to do that.
Ooh. Kind of like a power-up sort of thing?
So obviously it's going to take a charge. It's going to take some time to cast. It's not an insta-cast. But if you get it off, you would be able to one-shot the team.
That's so broken.
You have to get the cast off.
That's true. Oh, that's right. You'll press resolve and it'll be fine. Thank you, Shadowlands Season 3.
But I would love to see that implemented somehow because so I don't know about you, Mercy. I made sure that when I had the chance, I got the I did that one-time quest, so I have all my fire stuff is all green. So my incinerates are green. My
I have the same. I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I play my Destrolock, I don't see orange fire going. I just see green fire, and I just think of that every time now when I watch. I think of all the green the green flames of Warcraft and Medivh. So. All right. Cool. Yeah. I don't know, either that or else almost have the other side of where you just slowly suck out souls with green, almost like you're vaping off of a soul kind of thing.
Hashtag Fell Vape Nation. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. I think that's pretty much it. I don't. Is there any? Actually, I'm going to throw it. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think that's super important that we should mention before we move on to the next segment, Mercy?
Not anything I could think of right now. I think we talked about everything.
All right. Just quickly, if somebody does want to ask you if they listen to this and they want to ask you a question or something like that, where would be a good place for them to find you?
The best place would be Twitter, because that's where I spend my most time.
Okay.
And yeah, just Twitter.
All right. Well, awesome. Thanks. On that, we're going to get into the PvP news, and then we'll roll on out of here.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
All right. So, WoW PvP news. Well, as you guys saw, there's a race to world first that's going on right now. There's a crab that was kind of blocking the progression for a little bit, but it looks like I know, was it Liquid got them down, Echo got it down. Oh, and SK Gaming / Pieces, they got it down as well. So there's 3 teams that are now 7 of 11. So that is as of right now, hot off the presses. If anybody's interested, just go over to Twitch, look up, on the World of Warcraft. I'm sure. I think it's like the top 18 streams are Race to World First. Are either of you guys watching any of that? Does it interest you?
I personally have been. I've watched it now and then, only because, and for one reason only, it's because I'm watching Trill play Enhanced Shaman.
Right.
He's won AWC. He's won, obviously, in BlizzCon. He's won Race to World First. He's just done everything, and just watching him play a bit of Enhanced Shaman has given me kind of like, sort of getting a little insight into his head. I'm wondering whether or not Trill's going to come out and play some Turbo in PvP. So yeah, that's the only reason why. That's why I've been watching, basically.
Yeah. How about you, Mercy?
I've been watching for a bit, yeah, sometimes, but I'm not really watching very closely. I just hope SKPC is gonna win for obvious reasons.
Fair enough.
For very obvious reasons. I mean, actually thinking about it, SK Gaming is a previous BlizzCon winner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're back in the scene.
They are.
Yeah.
I was very excited when I saw that news. I guess we'll talk about it right now as part of the news. I was very excited to see that news when SK Gaming announced not only were they getting into the Race to World First, but also decided to sponsor yourself, their Mercy, and your teammates for an AWC team, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's always nice to see some of these guys
crazy.
back.
Yeah, it was really one of the most renowned orgs in the world. It's it's really good that they decided to come into WoW and pick us up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I think
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, I've been saying this for ages, that it's just, I've been wanting bigger organizations to come into the WoW PvP scene and just inject some, at least some support and stuff like that. Like Liquid, for example, coming in, picking up, obviously, a Limit, and then obviously Sidu's team as well. I think it's what the PvP and just general sort of esports WoW scene needs is bigger organizations coming in and just sort of, I don't know, maybe getting some more money out there and just kind of just really just revitalizing it. Because, it's been a while. Like I felt like that from the last couple of AWCs, where it's sort of like there's a few sort of random sort of like, I suppose, organizations here and there, but now we've got some actual sort of big backers and it's really exciting. It makes me excited anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think interesting that there's some organizations that started with the fledgling of WoW esports and then moved on to bigger things, and they're now coming back to those roots, though, which is a great story. Yeah. Well, I think, what else is there? So, talk about other announcements. There was an announcement. There's an announcement announcing the date of the next expansion announcement. So,
yeah,
that was funny. Save the date. I always like to save the dates. So if anybody wasn't paying attention, it was out on Twitter, on the Warcraft Twitter. They announced to save the date on the 19th of April. There is going to be some sort of an announcement on what the next expansion was. More importantly, I don't know if you guys noticed this, sandwiched between the Hearthstone expansion and the World of Warcraft expansion update, they slapped in the AWC start date, which is, like I said, this weekend. We've talked about that a few times now. I don't think I've seen an acknowledgement of World of Warcraft PvP esports in like the last 8 years like that. The fact that they put it next door, like, and Hearthstone brings a lot of it draw as well. Like, to sandwich that announcement between those two, it seems it's like that sweet filling of the Twinkie, like it's that it was really good.
I'm not sure I can relate on that specific example there, Gerissar. I've not had the pleasure of having a Twinkie, but I know exactly what you mean. Though it was actually just so great to see just some acknowledgement and just like some buzz behind it, because it feels like since we haven't been able to go to BlizzCon, because of obviously coronavirus, it's been amazing to see that just a bit more of a kind of like I don't know, just in the limelight, really returning.
Exactly. think. How about you, Mercy? Does this warm your heart a little bit to see acknowledgement of esports like that?
Yeah, I don't know if it warms my heart, since in my opinion it should be like a normality. Because WoW esports is pretty big and it should be like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't mind it. I think it just should be like the acknowledgement should be permanently, not, as you said, after 8 years of not being in the spotlight.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
I agree. I wish it was a consistent thing, not a
Yeah, exactly.
a news blip.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Hopefully it will be going forward. So
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. What else? Oh, hot fixes. So there's been a bunch of hot fixes, as there always is right after a major patch that comes in. So first and foremost, the Resonator trinket got nerfed after a day and a half of gameplay.
very needed.
Yeah. So I'm sure if anybody was playing PvP or if anybody's paying attention, they saw just the frustration of the community of people dying to the Resonator trinket. I will say I think part of that was totally valid. I mean, people dying to it. It was picking up a whole bunch of extra modifiers from rogues. It was crit striking for like absurd amounts. But I think the flip side to it as well is that people also weren't running the counter trinket to it. They weren't counterplaying it properly and whatnot. But that said, it definitely the damage on it has been reduced. So now it doesn't critically strike. And what's the other thing? It's not modified by some of the modifiers. Oh yeah, I think it was reduced by 18% overall damage. I think.
Yeah.
There's a damage reduction for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It not critting is the main thing, I think, probably.
And it was unable to crit. Yeah.
The other things that were nerfed as far as trinkets. So there's a whole bunch of raid trinkets. Good old PvE. Keep your darn PvE out of my PvP, man. So the devs listened and they did a round robin on not a round robin, I guess, but a full damage reduction on all of these raid trinkets, like the Brood of Endless Feast, 60% reduction. A whole bunch of them. So I don't know. I have to, how do you guys feel about that? Actually, do you think that there's a spot for PvE trinkets to have like these interesting gimmicky mechanics in PvP, or is it just that they're just so gimmicky that just keep them out and let us have actual scripted, structured gameplay that is predictable and has a counter to it every time?
BFA PTSD for me. Dress the Gath and Obsidian Claw. Yeah, I don't. They can stay away for at least for another expansion for me personally. So
okay, I'm sorry. I'm baiting you on that. That was such clickbait almost. It was. How about you, Mercy? What do you think?
I think that these gimmicky PvE trinkets have no place in PvP. Just like, I mean, you know how it is from PvE. If you play PvP and you want a PvE, you can make use of the badge, of the insignia. Two very simple trinkets. One gives you crit and main stat when you proc, and another gives you haste, and on a proc gives you main stat as well, right? I mean, this is very straightforward trinkets. I think if raid would give the same trinkets, it would be fine. But I mean, every new trinket from the raid does 3,000 new things that you never expect, and it's like one shots you and then does this stuff, and I don't think they have a place in PvP at all.
I would balance that.
Yeah, well. I would say that they would have a place if there was counterplay, if there was something that, because that's the whole thing about PvP, right? There's always the play and the counterplay, right? Case in point, we just talked about the Resonator trinket, and then the flip side, there's the Aegis, right? The one counters the other. There's the yin and the yang, and that's one thing I really enjoy about PvP. But I agree. I was so tongue in cheek. I'm sure if anybody watches the videos, you can see my face as I'm squirming trying to get that sentence out as I said it. But
I think a prime example is MQG, so Minecraft Gem from TBC. Like it's sort of it was just so. I mean, that was a classic trinket that was just so good. In even the following expansion, 10 levels later, it's just sort of. It was just so unbelievably broken, just because of the sheer amount of damage you get out. And I remember doing fives, playing one shaman, four mages, Pompyro mages, and you'd pop that, do the big damage, and then everyone just arcane explosions them to death. And it's sort of, there's not much anyone can do because the damage is so crazy. So it's kind of like, it's really fun. It's really fun for the people doing it, but at the same time, it's sort of, I don't know, it becomes a bit tedious.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's only when it's only fun on one side of the table repeatedly, then it's not actually fun. So
really good the PvE trinket. Let's say good stuff about this. So in Battle of Dazar'alor patch in BFA, I think it was 8.1, 8.1 or 8.2. There was this trinket that you would get. There was a PvP trinket that has the exact same stats, but the PvE trinket gave 2 extra main stat. So I mean, in that case, it's fine to have a PvE trinket in PvP, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, 2 extra, just one extra. Yeah, that's a good PvE trinket. There we go.
Yeah, well, if you wanted to min-max, you would pick the PvE trinket instead of the PvP one, and that's it. I think,
that 2 extra haste, that 3 extra damage. Yes. All right, let's hear what else did they do for hotfixes. Let's roll through the rest. So the solo shuffle. I remember it being noted on the forums leading after the PTR testing or during the PTR testing. Shout out to Lika over at dressfire.com was commenting on as well. His major concern was people with a low item level. Worried about somebody who has like a fresh 60. Minimum, like almost no PvP gear, sub 200 item level, walking into solo shuffle and just becoming the one target everybody just nukes and then game over, right? So and that one player ends up being a 0-6 player, right? Because they lost every single round. So it was noted. The devs actually listened to that, so now they've implemented a minimum item level scaling. So it was over on the community forums is what they're pointing to, but on that, so the minimum item level is now going to be 239, which is rank 1 PvP honor gear, if I'm not mistaken, which kind of makes sense right now in week 2 of the season, but I'm not. Do you guys think that's enough? Honestly,
I think that's enough, 100% for at least them to kind of get into there. I mean, there are people out there that can obviously, I suppose players that know the game very well can have low item level and still kind of do something, but kind of being brought up to the 230 mark, I mean, means at least that for the minute you can kind of like get yourself in there and not just die immediately. You'll have some of a leeway to kind of outplay your opponents and learn, but it's tough. I mean, gear does matter in Shadowlands. Obviously, the way that we increase it does matter. So it's hard.
Okay. So, like I said, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mercy.
I was about to say that to me that changes a bit. It seems like troll a bit, as in the sense that if you scale everyone, why wouldn't you scale everyone to 85 or like to 65 or like have like an equal playing field? Why would you just do this barely minimum where people that already have no gear, they think they get something, but they don't get anything at all because you're still gonna get squashed by people with. Right now in PvP, I'm like 268 on my characters, right?
Yeah.
So if I would do a solo shuffle and I would face a guy like 239, of course I'm gonna.
You gotta squash him.
Like beat him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they didn't just go full berserk with the change and make everyone be on equal terms. Could either just scale everyone to 239 or scale everyone to like end game gear or something.
Yeah, no,
maybe it's not possible. I don't know. I'm just saying that I would have loved everyone to be on equal footing, and just the skill would matter, and obviously comp, but not gear.
I suppose they should actually think about doing that for when they bring in ranked solo queue,
Yeah,
because then
so.
then you've got, whatever you queue into, you've got the highest level. There's no one's going to be like, oh, I got matched with this guy again and
Yeah,
he's got
exactly.
no gear. Everyone's
Yeah.
got the same gear. Everyone's got the same stuff. Then obviously you can change it up with the legendary you use or whatever, and just change your style depending on what you guys are doing, and work your way up that way. Because that'd be amazing, I think.
Yeah, because I would feel also personally a bit. I wouldn't feel fulfilled, if I would go in and I would beat a guy that's like lower item level than me. I would be like, I mean, sure, I beat him, but I didn't beat him because I was better. I just beat him because I had better gear equipped.
Yeah. I think once again, Lika actually mentioned that. I commented on it because he assumed that the player never returned, but the person showed up. I can't remember what the hit points was, but it was noticeably low. Like they walked in greens basically.
Yeah,
And they just became, as soon as somebody saw what the health pool was, it was game over. And then every game after that, the next 6 games, it was everybody just targeted. The opposing team just they had no chance. So, but I don't know if 268 like or zeroizing gear by making everybody the same is the answer. I would say, but maybe make everybody duelist level, and then that way gear can still matter somewhat. I mean, how often? Here, I'm gonna throw this one at you, Mercy. How often are you expecting to take your rank 1, glad geared warlock into solo shuffle? Would you do that just to stomp people for kicks, or like?
Now I would just do it for the. I mean, see if I would need honor. See if I would just want to cap weekly my character. I would do it. I would do a daily win on my warlock.
Okay.
Just to get the honor, but I would not play it unless it's ranked. But on my olds, for example, I play solo shuffle quite a lot because I like it. I like solo queue system, and it gives good honor.
Well, I agree. Okay. So, because I'm just thinking like gear disparity. If somebody was, let's say, what's duelist is what 248, I think, something like that.
I've no
Maybe it's
idea.
higher.
I don't know how it works.
I don't
I
have
don't
it.
even know what rating duelist is, so don't really say.
I think. Okay.
It's 2-1, I think. That's when you get duelist now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but I don't know what the item level is. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I can't remember what it is. I know it's for last season, but
No, it's probably the max level, right? It's 272 then, if it's duelist.
it will be the max level. Yeah.
Okay.
PvP conquest at 18 is 265.
Is that the base level? Or does it go up to something in PvP?
That's what it is in PvP.
Okay.
Oh.
It's, I think. I don't know.
Either way,
I'm sorry. There's a really cool over on Reddit. There was a person they made up a spreadsheet with all of the gear and where it what the item levels are depending on what you're doing.
Oh.
So I just looked that up. I'll share that with you actually.
Yeah, share it with me. I'm definitely keen to have a look at that.
I will. All right. In the meantime, while I look that up, I'm going to throw that back to you, Jake. Is there anything else in the in this whole list of hot fixes that really intrigues you?
I suppose the biggest one that is annoying is, I don't know if it's showing on here. I think it's the enhancement nurse. Needed, obviously. Makes me sad, of course. But it's I think what they need to do really is they just need to target instant cast heals. In general, I'm talking like paladin, rep paladin heals, feral heals, enhancement heals, and just kind of like nerf it into the ground really, so that kind of like it's sort of so people have to start casting again for doing the heals, because there are lots of times where I'll just be like willy-nilly running around. I've got 10 stacks of Maelstrom weapons, so then it's like, oh, that's a 40k heal for you, and there's a 40k heal for me if it crits. And especially when it's buffed with healing stream and the conduits and everything like that, it just becomes a little bit silly. So it's I think there just needs to be something done that makes these classes not be so kind of ridiculous when you're trying to kill them. And I think you know, I suppose that's the kind of where my thoughts are. Like, I think this is a really good change, despite the fact that I play enhancement. But it's you know, I would like there to be more, you know, because it only benefits us. So it means that we can kind of like, games are quicker. You know, you won't have so many hybrid classes basically living forever, or basically out healing their healers. It's silly.
I do find it interesting because we talked about it before. The mantra of Shadowlands is that people got to die, and yet hybrid healing is so powerful in Shadowlands that it seems contradictory to that. That people got to die, except for these occasions when we let people live.
It's a strange thing, because I know that talking to some people about it and talk to my friends about it, is that, you know, for certain classes it feels like, okay, the only thing we've got really is this, especially like stuff like enhancement and maybe like rep paladins to a degree. You know, it's like because there's no like wall, or rather there's no sort of like, you know, enhancement doesn't have, shamans don't have a bubble. It's sort of like, it's a kind of a part and parcel of sort of being able to keep myself up, or kind of like avoid damage by just regaining that health. It's you know, there's kind of like, is that integral to the kind of way the class is? And I'm saying it might be, but it shouldn't be. You know, there should be, if I'm playing a DPS spec that's hybrid, I should be having to cast my heals so that it's interruptible, instead of sort of basically having an instant cast 40k heal. Basically, I've got an instant cast. What's it called? That paladin ability. I don't know why it's gone out of my head.
Word of Glory.
Yeah, Word of Glory. But there's what's the one that's
Lay on Hands, maybe.
Yeah, Lay on Hands. That's it. Yeah. Lay on Hands. It's basically like an instant lay on hands, and it's just nuts. I think it's stupid. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think it would be better having, you know, I would rather they buff hard casted heals, so at least like you get more worth out of doing that, than the instant cast. So that'd be my opinion. That would be my ideal situation. But yeah, that's why that fix is important to me.
Yeah. No, fair. Just be clear that it was the conduit that was nerfed, though, right? Not like, I understand that has a lot of healing, but
yes, it is the conduit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's focused lightning, so it's basically it buffs depending on how much maelstrom weapon you've got, it buffs the cast, whether it's healing or damage. So that's why you've got like you do big damage as enhanced with Chain Harvest, and why the heat. It didn't buff. I don't think it buffed Healing Surge massively, but it's sort of definitely added quite a bit to it, in combination with another conduit, which when you dropped Healing Stream Totem, it buffed your next 3 Healing Surges by a certain amount, depending on obviously your item level. So it would definitely stack up, and you just sort of when you're okay, because you've got mana, and obviously they nerfed the mana cost for a lot of your abilities, so you're not as much. So it's about counterplay, and I don't know. I just don't think we should be healing as much.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, while the devs seem to agree to you somewhat, I guess they're not willing to take it quite to the level you want to. No. Although they did nerf fire mages as well, and their their damage, their fireball cooldown reduction of combustion was nerfed slightly, and Tinder, their PvP talent, was also nerfed a bit. So. And of course, the Tempest Barrier conduit, the absorb value of that was reduced by 50%. So I think overall, the devs are seeing that some of these abilities, some of these conduits are scaling a little bit beyond reasonability, with the gearing that we're going through. So they're having to reduce them now. So it'll be interesting to see how that interaction works out, especially towards the end of the season when people start having those maximum eye levels. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't in the next few episodes talk about other hot fixes where other classes had nerfs to their healing done. So
fingers crossed, you know, warlocks and shamans are on there.
We'll see. We will see. I think that's about it I can really think of that was PvP wise. Everything else seems to be more on the PvE side and the new raid. So I think we're pretty much done there. Last couple items. Oh, pardon me. Got little burps here. Bandwave over now. This seems to be mostly on the EU side. but there was a ban wave that appears to have gone out to a number of players claiming win trading and real money trading for boosting. So I know, so I have a link here. It's over to a Reddit post, but if I'm not mistaken, it was Tony Farrell was the one that I first saw on Twitter, and then he deleted his post, and I guess he's got reversed. That's got reversed, and I heard there's a few other people that got reversed, but I'm still seeing some stuff over on Twitter and in a couple other spots where people are saying that they didn't engage in this. They were falsely accused, but Blizzard isn't listening. That they can't appeal. Whenever they appeal, it's like instant denied, saying that they have error. They have substantive proof or some jargon saying that, you know, basically you have to eat your 1 month ban. So I don't know. I have to ask Mercy and Teresa. Do you guys know anybody over there in Europe that got affected by this, or do you know anything yourselves?
Not personally, I don't think for me. I mean, I don't know anyone that has done this. I mean, it's a difficult subject. I think that, you know, people have been talking about this subject for a really long time, but I don't know anyone personally is the answer. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know there has been a ban wave. Sadly, yeah, some stuff has been going on, but I also don't know anyone personally
Okay.
that got taken out.
Yeah, I know, like I said, I know some people got accused. Just because they said it, and then apparently a lot of those, like, especially some of the very well-known players, they got reversed because they were able to prove otherwise, be it through video or whatever. I guess the only thing I can't figure out is if these are actual real money trading that are substantive for boosting, or if this is, you know, because I've heard of this happening where a player will get blind whispered by somebody like, "Hey, thanks for the you know, I'm sending the cash now. Thanks for the boost," and the person's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And next thing you know, then they get a like that's the thing, and when they weren't even playing with the person, right? So I've heard of that happening. No, but again, like, I'll admit half of those have been on like Dilly Poo's Twitter where he does screenshots of those, right? So
Yeah,
right.
I could see that happen from some individuals, but I'm not sure. I don't think Blizzard cares too much about these random whispers. Surely they won't. I mean, because then everyone would do something to everyone. You know, everyone would like try to get everyone banned. It's like it's gonna be nobody playing. I don't think they care too much about these in-game whispers.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro, thank you for the boost, man.
Yeah, enjoy the ban.
Sending the transaction.
Right.
Yeah,
but I think that's actually where some of these people got caught, is that they're like, yeah, whatever, this person's like whatever, and then in the meantime, when Blizzard looks at analytics, they're like, oh yeah, those two players were in an arena together, and here's a timestamp chat that says that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but to be fair, I doubt anyone ever types in the in-game chat. So
Yeah.
like nobody will ever type this stuff. So
It'll all be in Discord, surely, like, or some other
yeah,
channel.
it's gonna be on third parties. So, yeah, just hard
I
to
don't know.
prove. It's hard.
I from screenshots that I've seen, there's a lot of trash talk that happens in blind whispers after a game.
There is a lot of trash talk. There's a lot of angry people out there. That's for sure.
There is. All right. Well, again, this happened, so I know this would affect anybody that's trying to compete in any of the actual official tournaments, because anybody that has a strike against them like this, they can't compete for a period of time. And if you're wondering where your teammate is, it's very possible that they are on a 1 month ban because they got caught in the middle of who knows whatever these shenanigans are. On the flip side, if you're doing win trading and real money boosting, please don't. I think actually, yeah, I'm gonna say the rest of my thoughts on that because I want to talk about this in depth, and right now is not the time. So I'm just gonna put a pin in that one right up here, and we'll talk about that one later. Last one, good news. Got to finish off with some good news. Over on the World of Warcraft YouTube channel, they've been pumping out some great 9.2 content. Recently, there was some Mythic Plus content that was narrated by Dratnos, covering the mega dungeon that they split into the Mythics. So, Zelavesh, I think it's called. I think I'm gonna say it wrong. Anyways, if you want, go check over there. He talks about them. He also talks about the new affix for the Mythic Plus, and Venruki narrated a 9.2 video about PvP. Again, talking about the new Colosseum, like we did just the last episode, as well as talking about a bunch of the trinkets, like we did last episode. But his is much shorter and much more succinct. It's a much smaller video than our 2-hour long rambling discussions about 9.2. So
They should have just hired us, though. I mean, you know, Venuki's great and everything, but come on, Blizzard.
Who wants a 10-minute video when you can have a 2-hour video of 3 guys rambling, right?
Exactly. How else are you gonna, you know, grind BGs or level your own new characters other than listen to a technically PvP podcast?
Exactly. Or get your WoW fix while you're driving to work.
Exactly.
Shout out to Deceptor, who was in chat, but they had to leave because it's really late where they are. I think Germany, if I'm not mistaken. But shout out to them, long-time listener. Speaking of shout outs, Mercy, do you have anybody you want to shout out before we close this out?
Shout out to every PvPer out there. I don't know.
Awesome.
Shout
That's
out to
awesome.
like
That's
anyone
some
watching. I don't have really any special shout outs. Just
That's some serious bro love, though, man. Shout out to all the PvPers. That's awesome.
yeah.
All right. Jake, do you have any shout outs?
I do, yeah. It's maybe not a game-related one. I'm just shout out to my girlfriend for letting me do this for 2 hours tonight when she's just moved in with me. She hasn't come in. She hasn't disturbed me, so that's all positive. So that's the main thing. So shout out to her.
It's a good sign. That's a good sign. Well, I appreciate your girlfriend for giving us your attention for 2 hours. I already did my shout out, so I'm good. Mercy. Once again, where can people find you on the interwebs? Tell them all the places they can find you.
My Twitter, and that's pretty much the only place you can find me recently because I'm not really streaming that much, but they can also find me on Twitch.
All right. And that's Mercy Dessa, right?
Yeah.
Mercy Dessa on Twitch, Mercy Wow on Twitter. Do you have anything else over on the do you frequent the EU forums at all or anything else?
Yeah, I try to stay in touch with everything that's being discussed in like WoW forums, Reddit, Twitter.
All right.
It's like WoW is pretty much my job, and I take it pretty serious. So I like read not all the stuff because most of it is troll. But when someone says something that is like it's like good information, I will be there and I will read it.
Awesome. Well, cool. All right, Jake. You're it, man. Well, can you tell the listeners where they can find us?
Of course, absolutely. You can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP. That's on Twitter, obviously, or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. And of course, you can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord.
Indeed. And also, you can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows over at warcraftradio.com. Head on over there. If you want, find a new show that maybe you haven't listened to, give them a listen. And if you want, find a show you really like and leave a review over there and let other people what you think of that show. And hey, maybe stop by ours and let people know what you think of us. Come on. All right.
Yeah, that's nice.
That'd be nice. That's it for us. Links for everything we talked about, as always, are in the show notes. And I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.